Next up is Miracle on 34th Street. I believe this was a television version. Now, it's only 45 minutes long. And I also believe it's from the... I think it was made after the movie? I don't even know. Like the other movie. We'll find out. This looks like a TV version. Oh no, is this a silent film?
Sorry to interrupt your work, but you're making a serious mistake. Huh? With reindeer, I mean. You're putting Prancer where Dasher should be. And Blitzen should always be on my right-hand side.
He should, huh?
Yes, and another thing. Donna's antlers have 4 points instead of 3. But I don't suppose anyone would notice that except me.
No, I don't suppose.
Yeah, no, only you fucking lunatic. Get the fuck out of my store. It's Thanksgiving.
Well, glad I could be of help. Goodbye.
Wow, you know, I complain a lot about how often Christmas comes, like, before Thanksgiving, but apparently they did it back in the day, too.
Now watch.
That's how you whip an ass, son.
We answered the ad along with 100 others. He as good as me.
Well, the parade's ready to start. You coming?
I'm going home and getting a hot tub. I may just stay there until next Thanksgiving.
But you've worked so hard on the parade.
Do you want some company?
See it from the roof of my apartment. Bye.
Oh, damn.
Look at that big baseball player.
He was a clown last year. They just painted him different. My mother told me. She manages the parade.
And they added a mitt to his hand?
Really, Mr. Gailey? And you a lawyer? There are no such things as giants.
Well, maybe not now, Susan, but in olden times, like the giant Jack killed in the fairy tale.
Oh, one of those. I don't know any fairy tales.
What about the Bible?
My mother thinks they're silly, and I never met my father. You see,
My father dumped in my mother and ran away.
Well, that baseball player sure looks like a giant to me. Come in.
Hello. My housekeeper told me Susan was here. I'm her mother.
Yes, Susie's told me quite a bit about you.
What the hell?
Quite a bit about you, too. The man in the front apartment. Hi, dear.
parade's much better than last year.
Good.
You better have run my bath, you little bitch.
Would you like a cup of coffee?
Oh, don't bother.
No bother. It's ready.
Wait, whose apartment are we in?
I want to thank you for being so kind to Susan.
All part of the plot. Surest way to meet the mother is to be nice to the child.
What a horrible trick.
Susan tells
I
me
don't
you
care
know
about that. All's fair when I want to get my dick wet.
I don't. I think we should be realistic and completely truthful with our children. Not let them grow up believing in a lot of myths and legends. Like Santa Claus, for example.
Like women voting.
The parade's over, Mother. The acrobats were good.
Those prices, they should be.
Mother, I was thinking, we've got such a big turkey for dinner, and there are only 2 of us. Couldn't we invite Mr. Gailey? Couldn't we?
Are you down for a threesome, Mom?
Please don't bother. I'll just get a sandwich or something.
It's an awful big turkey.
Oh, it's not that, dear, but I'm sure Mr. Gailey has other plans.
No, I'm talking about what's in his pants. He showed me earlier.
Well, as a matter of fact, to be truthful and completely realistic with the child, I must say I haven't.
Please, Mother, please.
Man, any single woman back in the 50s was like bait to a shark. Jesus.
Dinner's at 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock? What are you, 80?
Susan, you asked just right.
I'm conspiring with a child to get my dick in her mother. Merry Christmas.
Before those screaming brats arrive, I want to give you a few pointers on how to be a good Santa Claus.
Go ahead.
Now, here's a list of toys we have to push. You know, things we've overstocked. You'll find that a great many children are undecided as to what they want for Christmas. When this occurs, you immediately suggest one of...
Wow, a young Christopher Lloyd in his breakout role.
Certainly do.
All right, here they come. You get up there and go to work and memorize that list. And remember, be jolly. You're working for Macy's.
Imagine that. Making a child take something he doesn't want just because he bought too many of the wrong toys. That's what I've been fighting against for years.
And what's that, Pop?
Praying to
Elves wanting rights and unionizing. It's bullshit.
And a Merry Christmas to you. Now then, what's your name, little boy?
Peter.
And what do you want for Christmas, Peter?
I want a fire engine just like the big ones, only smaller. It's got real hoses and squirts real water.
I want an official Red Ryder bolt action with the thing that sells time.
See, you're a very good boy, so you'll get your fire engine.
You see, I told you to get me one.
Yes,
Yeah,
dear.
I hope he pays for it too, you little shit.
Thanks, Santa, too.
What do you mean by saying a thing like that? I've been all over town trying to find that kind of a fire engine. Macy doesn't have one. Nobody's got one.
But you can get those fire engines at the Acme Toy Company on West 46th Street. Only $4.50. Wonderful bargain. Oh, I follow the toy market pretty closely.
Macy's sending other people to other stores?
Well, the important
That's
thing is to
impossible.
keep them happy. Whether Macy's or somebody else sell the toy, that doesn't matter, does it? Don't you feel that way?
Me? Sure, but I didn't think Macy's did.
Wow, Harley Quinn aged up nice. Thanks for the tip, Mr. S.
Shiny skates, and they're very good indeed. But I don't think they're the kind of skates you want. Now they have really wonderful skates at Gimbals.
You're fired!
The sales lady said I was to speak to you. You the head of the toy department.
Yes, madam, yes.
Well, look, I want to congratulate you on Macy's and this new stunt you're doing. Sending people to other stores. To think that a big store like this puts the spirit of Christmas before the commercial.
The commercial.
I haven't been here before, but from now on, I'm a regular Macy customer.
Gimbals.
Do you want to hear something stupid? When I worked at GameStop, we used to send people to other stores all the time. And we used to be very honest about which games sucked and not. And it drove the DM fucking crazy. He hated it. Like, we get written up for it. Don't tell a customer a game sucks.
Walker, what's your name?
Mine, Chris Kringle. I'm Santa Claus. You don't believe that, do you?
You see, my mother is Mrs. Walker, the lady who hired you. But I must say, you're the best-looking one I've ever seen.
Thank you.
Your whiskers don't have those things that go over your ears.
That's because they're real. Just like I'm really Santa Claus.
Just like what's in my lap is real.
Oh, go ahead, pull.
Yeah, go ahead, pull.
That's it. And what do you want me to bring you for Christmas?
Nothing, thank you. Whatever I want, my mother will get me. Sensible and doesn't cost too much.
Susan, dear, I think you've taken up enough this gentleman's time.
Ta-ta, bitch.
Maid had to go home. Her mother sprained her ankle. She asked me to bring Susan down here for you.
Yes, she phoned.
I thought as long as we were here, we might as well talk to Santa Claus.
This guy's got some set of fucking balls.
His whiskers are real, too.
I also took her to a synagogue and had her pray to a different god. Just, you know,
Would you like to go over and look at the
for
dog?
kicks.
I'll be with you in just a minute. I want to talk to Mr. Gailey.
I didn't think there was any harm in saying hello to the old gent. I'm sorry.
Well, I think there is harm. I tell her Santa Claus is a myth, and you bring her down here to meet a very convincing old gentleman with real whiskers.
What's wrong with that?
Like filling her full of fairy tales.
When my daughter sits on a man's lap, I want him to not have a beard. That's what.
Waiting for Prince Charming to come along, and when he does, he'll be a...
We were talking about Susie, not you.
Whether you agree with me or not, I'll have to ask you to respect my wishes.
Damn. I was hoping to tap that by New Year's.
Down, won't you?
This is a lovely little girl you have here.
Thank you.
Have a penguin.
Susan's the reason I asked you to drop down. She's a little confused. Would you tell her that you're not really Santa Claus? That there's actually no such person?
I'm sorry to disagree with you, Mrs. Walker, but not only is there such a person, but here I am to prove it.
You'd think he'd be a little busy right now to be doing
I want you to tell her the truth.
a store Santa thing.
What is your name?
Chris Kringle, I'll bet you're in the first grade.
Second.
No, I mean your real name.
It is my real name. Second grade. Good gracious.
It's a progressive school.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Progressive school.
Just like Harvard.
Where did you get such a lovely outfit?
Macy's, we get 10% off.
Susan, would you go in and talk to Mrs. Adams for a minute?
All right.
Goodbye, young lady.
You don't want to take the penguin?
I hope so too. Bye.
Chris Kringle. Address, Brooks Memorial Home for the Aged.
If you care to call them and ask for Dr. Pierce, he'll be happy to confirm it.
Age as old as my tongue. And a little bit
Oh, hey
smaller
now.
than my teeth. No, really.
Well, that's the truth.
Next of kin, Donna Blitzen Prancer.
And Dancer.
You don't have much of a vetting process, do you, lady? How does she button that shirt up?
I'm sorry, Mr.
Kringle.
Yes, well, I'm afraid we're going to have to make a change. You see, the Santa Claus we had last year is back in town, and, well, I feel I owe it to him to,
Have I done something wrong?
No. Excuse me. Yes?
Mr. Macy wants to see you immediately.
There's 8 reindeer out here, and they're ready to riot.
You'll have to excuse me. Miss Adams will give you your voucher on the way out, and you'll receive a full week's salary.
Bitch, you can't fire Santa Claus. I'll have to go to Gimbel's.
Now, about that new sales policy that you two seem to have initiated. It would have been better to clear it with the sales department first, don't you think?
Mr. Macy,
Macy's Santa Claus sending customers to Gimbel's. Preposterous.
I want him shot.
Yet, we cannot quarrel with success. Telephone calls, telegrams, over 500 parents expressing their undying gratitude to Macy's. So as a result, I've decided to make this the new sales policy for the entire store.
Oh, I just fired him.
What a customer wants, we'll send him where he can get it. In this way, Macy's will be known as the store with a heart. The store that puts public service ahead of profit.
On the surface, underneath, we're still the rotten assholes we've always been.
Well, I just want to express our appreciation and to tell you that in your Christmas envelopes, there'll be a more practical expression of our gratitude.
Thank you, Mr. Macy.
That'll be all. Oh, and tell that wonderful Santa Claus of yours that I haven't forgotten him either. No, never mind. I'll tell him myself. In the morning.
Imagine, a bonus.
Fired him.
Who?
Santa Claus?
No.
What kind of an evil bitch are
He
you?
is Santa Claus.
Well, I don't care if he thinks he's the Easter Bunny. You better get him back.
Well, it's too great a risk. He might have a fit or something. I tell you, the man's insane.
Maybe just a little bit insane. Mr. Sawyer.
What?
We'll get Sawyer to examine him. He's a psychologist. That's what he's being paid for, to examine the employees.
Can't get him back. He's already gone.
Well, then you better scoot after him and get him, because if you don't, we're going to have a very unmerry Christmas.
Well, I care about that. I fired Santa Claus on Christmas Eve.
I'm afraid I acted rather hastily and perhaps unfairly. This other
Oh.
Santa Claus, well, Mr. Macy has found something else for him to do, and, well, we want you to stay on.
This is mighty good news. You see, Mrs. Walter, for 50 years or so, I've been more and more worried about Christmas.
And I'm going to beat you to death with my cane.
It's a frame of mind, and that's what they've been changing. Well, I'm glad you're taking me back. Maybe I can do something about it. And I'm glad I met you and your daughter. You're my test case.
We are?
Yes, in a way, you're the whole thing in miniature. And if I win you over, well, there's still hope. If not, I guess I'm through.
We're back to the psych ward I go.
And I'm warning you, I don't give up easily.
Oh, well, Mr.
You literally walked out of there without a fight when you got fired.
Mr. Sawyer's office for a little examination.
Mental examination?
Well, partly, yes.
Oh, I don't mind. I've taken dozens. Haven't failed one yet. Yeah. How many days in the week? 7. How many things do you see? 4. Muscular coordination? Perfect. Who was vice president under James Monroe? Daniel D. Tompkins. I'll bet you're...
Okay, I would have failed that.
Know that one.
How much is 3 times 5?
You asked me that before.
I'm conducting this examination. How much is 3 times 5?
The number of times you've made your wife come in your marriage.
You're rather nervous, aren't you, Mr. Sawyer? Do you get enough sleep?
My personal habits are of no
What's the
concern
fucking
to
eye
you.
twitch?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's just that I hate to see anyone all tied up.
How many fingers do you see?
3. Like your nails, too.
I want you to stand up straight with your arms extended.
Muscular coordination test. Surely I'll be glad to. You know, very often nervous habits like yours is caused by insecurity. Are you happy at home?
Wait,
Mr.
did
Sawyer?
Santa Claus is Santa Claus a psych
We
student?
all, Mr. Kringle. The examination's over. You may go. And it may interest you to know that I've been a happily married man for 26 years.
Oh, I'm delighted to hear it.
I would have sworn you were gay. Oh, my gaydar's off.
Wife, Mr. Sawyer.
But that's it. Agnes, how many times have I told you not to bother with the office? No, I give you a perfectly liberal allowance. If that fat, stupid brother of yours would get a job, you wouldn't have to be pestering me all the time. Not a penny.
How long have you known him, Dr. Pierce?
Well, he wandered into the home about 8 months ago. Looked the place over and said, it'll do. Just stayed on.
Has he ever told you...
Does he have insurance?
Said he was Chris Kringle. We never pressed him further.
Mrs. Walker, after giving that man a comprehensive examination, it's my considered opinion he should be dismissed immediately.
Dr. Pierce, Mr. Sawyer.
Excuse me, didn't Chris answer the questions correctly?
Well, yes, he did, but there was a complete lack of concentration. There's no doubt about it, he should be placed in a mental institution.
And wait a minute. People are
He lives in one.
institutionalized to prevent them from hurting themselves or other people. His is a delusion for good. He only wants to be friendly, helpful.
Mrs. Walker, naturally I cannot discharge this man. So when he begins to exhibit his latent maniacal tendencies, which I assure you he will, the responsibility will be entirely yours.
Good day. I said good day, sir.
Dr. Pierce, if there's the slightest possibility of trouble,
Now, what trouble could Chris possibly get into?
He's 100.
No? Well, coming to work, for instance, a policeman might ask him his name. Now, you know that would get him into a fight.
Well, that could
What?
be avoided easily enough. Find someone here in the store to rent him a room. Then they could go to and from work together.
Oh, yes, that would solve everything. That's a wonderful idea.
Yes, isn't it? Your son's away at school. What about his room?
Well, I'll talk to Mrs. Shellhammer as soon as I get home. In the meantime, you take Chris home to dinner.
Mrs. Shell Henderson? What?
No, I couldn't.
Oh, really, Mrs. Walker? If I can supply the room, the least you can do is furnish a free meal.
Ugh. Staying employed sucks.
What sort of games do you play, Susan?
Hide the pickle?
For the children. They play silly games.
They do.
Like today, they were playing zoo, and all of the children were animals. Homer was supposed to be the zookeeper.
Homer?
He said, "What kind of an animal are you?"
What kind of an animal are you?
"I'm not an
Go!
animal. I'm a girl." He said, "Only animals allowed here. Bye."
Oh, that's too bad. Sounds like a wonderful game to me. Of course, to play it right, you've got to have imagination. Do you know what imagination is?
That's when you see something and it's really not there.
Well, yes. But I believe imagination's a place by itself. Yeah, you know, like, well, you know the British nation and the French nation. Well, this is imagination.
What? No, no, sir, no. That's a South Park
How would you
episode.
like to make snowballs in the summertime? Or drive a bus down Fifth Avenue, hmm? Or be the
You squeaky me too tight, Santa!
afternoon, a flock of geese flying south. Well, the first place, you'd have to learn to pretend. That's imagination. Now, the next time they play zoo, you tell Homer...
And after one of our little special sessions, you have to pretend that it never happened. That's imagination.
First, you bend way over.
No, no, no.
Now, then you scratch.
I'm gonna stop short, and your nose is gonna go somewhere it doesn't want to go.
Very good to me. But being an exceptional lawyer, I want to open my own office.
Who invited this asshole?
We're having our first lesson in pretending, and we're doing pretty well, too.
She'll be having nightmares for weeks.
But you'll be having a lot of fun in the daytime.
Hello?
This is like a Calgon commercial.
Mr. Shellhammer, that's fine. The Shellhammers have a room for you.
That's very kind of them, but I've accepted Mr. Gailey's offer to stay with him.
Mr. Gailey.
I'll get the meat.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Shellhammer, but it seems he's made other arrangements. Yes, well, goodbye.
Yes, my interfering neighbor.
Here we are.
Steak.
No, it's venison. A friend of mine
What?
gave it to me.
What's venison?
Or, deer meat. If you don't like it, I have eggs for you.
Could I have eggs too? Venison, you know.
Some of my best friends are deer.
I forgot. Well,
Yeah, this guy, there was a deer on his roof and he shot him. He cooked him up.
know about. Why don't you give me a chance?
All right.
Good.
That's what I want for Christmas.
World domination?
No, a real house.
A real house?
If you're really Santa Claus, you can get it for me. And if you can't, just a nice man with a white beard like Mother says.
Well, just because every child doesn't get a
I don't have $350,000, you insane woman.
You'd say,
But what could you possibly want with a house like this?
live in it with my mother.
To have this lovely apartment.
But I want a backyard and a swing and... She can't get it, huh?
I didn't say that. Well, that's a tall order. But I'll do the best I can. May I keep this?
Mm-hmm.
Good night, Susan.
Good night.
Oh, holy shit, if I painted myself in a corner.
Do you like living in the city?
Well, it's all right. I'd kind of like to get out in the country sometime, though. Not a big place, just one of those junior partner deals in Manhattan.
I know the kind you mean. One of those colonial houses.
Or Cape Cod.
I've been thinking about Mrs. Walker.
You know, I don't know if I'd ever be comfortable brushing my teeth in front of someone.
She's determined that no one will ever hurt her again. With a little more effort on your part, she might be made to crawl out of a shell.
Wait.
Those two are a couple of lost souls. It's up to us to...
Why did he have a second bed? Like,
I'll take care of Susie if you'll take care of her mother.
I know. Enough said.
You ready? Oh, no, you don't. I'm not going to be cheated that way. All my life I've wondered, and now I'm going to find out. I'm going to learn the answer to the question that's troubled the world for centuries.
How do you find the clitoris?
Does Santa Claus sleep with his whiskers inside or out?
Always sleep with them out. Cold air makes them grow.
Okay. Is that a thing? I don't have a neck beard. I never let it grow that long.
This is one event I never expected to see.
Two can play at this game, Mr. Macy. If Gimbals haven't got what the customer wants, we'll send him over to Macy's.
It'll be a pleasure, Mr. Gimble.
Oh, please. That's like Disney and Warner Brothers shaking hands.
Children still, children at heart. It was summer. Warm, glorious summer.
Did you give her Ritalin?
Did you like that story, Susan?
Mr. Kringle, do you think I'm going to get my house for Christmas?
Well, I can't promise, but we mustn't give up hope. Good night, Susan. Tomorrow evening I'll read you another story.
I can't. I've got to go to school.
Isn't this vacation?
Yes, but this is what they call a required function.
Required function? The Fillmore Progressive School requests your presence at a special performance of a Christmas play to be given in the modern manner. What does that mean?
A Christmas play without Santa Claus.
Well,
Blasphemy.
a Christmas play without a Santa Claus?
Who does it star? That Jesus fraud?
The performance will be followed by a short address. Subject, exploding the myth of Santa Claus.
Ooh.
The guest speaker will be Mr. Albert Sawyer.
I'm very happy you enjoyed our little play. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce our old friend, Mr. Albert Sawyer.
Thank you all for coming to my play.
Parents and young people, it's thrilling indeed to see so many happy, smiling faces.
I'm here to crush your dreams and usher you into adulthood way too early.
But as those of you in this intelligent group know, this is going to be a Christmas without Santa Claus.
Such a person as Santa Claus, St. Nicholas, or Kris Kringle does not exist. Never has existed and never will exist.
He was invented by Coca-Cola.
The old man in his red suit represents the wishful dreaming of all people. He's the all-giver, the generous father. Mature adults who keep this myth alive are clinging to childish fantasies and show themselves afraid to face realities.
I'm gonna kill that old fuck.
People who play Santa have a strong feeling of guilt. I see nothing to laugh at.
Yeah, I'm trying to scare you, you little shits.
Far from being amusing.
I imagine this is what going to college is like.
Only stupid old
Sir, I'm here to learn math.
whiskers keep this ridiculous myth alive. Now he's gone too far.
Did he really just hit that guy with a cane?
He became violent because I attacked his delusions, and he'll do it again.
Well, if you ask me, I think we ought to get an outside psychiatrist to examine him.
Then you better do it right away before Mr. Macy hears about it.
Oh, that's right. You explain it to Mr. Kringle after all.
Wait, he really clubbed him with a cane?
Well, I've grown very fond of him, and this is going to hurt him deeply. I just can't.
All right, what can we do?
I think I have it. You tell Kringle Mrs. Walker wants him to leave at once in order to have some publicity pictures taken with the mayor. I'll have a car waiting outside, and once we get him in the car, we'll drive him straight off to Bellevue Hospital.
Yes, that'll do it.
Kidnap Mr. Santa Claus. Wow, apparently it doesn't take much to get somebody incarcerated.
Hello, Chris.
Hello, Fred.
You flunked that psychiatrist examination deliberately, didn't you? Why?
I had great hopes, Fred. I had a feeling that Mrs. Walker was beginning to believe in me. Now I know she was only humoring me all the time.
Mrs. Walker didn't know anything about taking pictures with the mayor. That was Mr. Sawyer's idea.
Oh, who cares?
Mrs. Walker.
Corporate America's failed me.
Contemptible, deceitful, dishonest. But he's out there, and I'm here. If that's normal, I don't want it.
But you can't just think of yourself.
Think of the elves. Think of your wife.
People like me who believe in you and what you stand for. People like, well, like Susie, who are just beginning to. Chris, you can't let them down.
You're right. Let's get out of here.
Now, wait a minute. You flunked that examination, but good.
Yes. I said our first president was Calvin Coolidge. Oh, but you can fix that. You'll think of something.
Now, take it easy. A judge is going to be asked to sign papers committing you to a mental institution.
Where is he now?
The chance would be to prove you legally sane at a public hearing.
Good. I can think of nothing better. Don't you see? That will settle the question once and for all.
There's a headline you want. You know what? The media's always been this way, hasn't it? Santa wears MAGA hat. Insane cry people.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. You may proceed, Mr. District Attorney.
My name's Thomas Mara. What's yours?
Kris Kringle.
Oh. Where do you live?
That's what this hearing will decide.
It's a very sound answer, Mr. Kringle.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I don't like his little beard, like curly beard, mustache
really
thing.
That you're Santa Claus?
Of course.
The state rests, Your Honor.
In view of this statement, do you still wish to put in a defense, young man?
I do, Your Honor. I'm fully aware of my client's opinions. In fact, that is the entire case against him. That Mr. Kringle is not sane because he believes himself to be Santa Claus.
An entirely logical assumption, I'm afraid.
Yeah, case dismissed.
You believe yourself to be Judge Harper, yet no one questions your sanity because you are Judge Harper.
Mr. Kringle is the subject of this hearing, not me.
Exactly. So I intend to prove that Mr. Kringle is Santa Claus.
Okay, so you got a crazy lawyer.
What does Mr. Hayslip of Hayslip, Sherman, and Hayslip say about the trial?
That I was jeopardizing the dignity of the firm, that I either dropped the case or they dropped me. So, leaving me no choice, I quit.
Oh, Fred, you didn't.
The only reason I was thinking about fucking you was you had a good job.
Me and all the rest of us need him.
Darling, he's
Wait,
a kind,
darling?
wonderful old man, but well, you can't throw away your career because of sentiment.
I'm not throwing a career away. I'll get by. I'm a darn good lawyer. This doesn't shake your faith.
You know that Matt Murdock guy? Pfft, he's a fraud.
Question of common sense, not faith.
Faith is believing in things when common sense tells you not to. I wish you could let yourself believe in people like Chris.
I wish you could let yourself let me see you naked.
Joy and all the other intangibles.
Can't pay the rent with intangibles.
And you can't live without them. Why don't you try a little blind faith, darling? String along with me. I think you've got a right to ask that.
I think I have the right to ask you to be a little bit more practical and realistic.
Wait, if she does, why does she have a fucking tree in her apartment then?
Here we are, as close as two people can possibly be.
Okay.
There's a loneliness about it.
They're a foot apart.
I've tried my best.
I know you have, darling, and so have I. But we're gonna need a lot more than each other's arms. And somehow I just don't think we've got it.
I mean, I know I've got the parts, but I'm not sure you do. Or even if you do, they're kind of frigid, and I'm not sure.
With all my common sense, I was just beginning to think this time it might work out.
So was I, but... Can I help you trim the tree?
Thanks, I can do it.
Well, good night.
Night.
They call each other darling, but they don't like kiss goodnight or anything?
Your name, sir?
R.H. Macy.
Do you recognize this man?
Yes, he's an employee of mine, Chris Kringle.
Do you believe him to be of sound mind?
I certainly do.
Mr. Macy, you're under oath. Do you really believe that this man is Santa Claus?
Objection?
Do you?
I do.
That is all.
Wait, why did the newspaper say he admitted he was a fraud? Wait, what?
You are fired.
Your Honor.
Why would it?
There's
Wait,
no
what?
such person as Santa Claus, and everybody knows it. I ask that the court make an immediate ruling. Is there or is there not a Santa Claus?
Of course, you can't say that. That's like saying that Jesus doesn't exist.
This court will take a short recess to consider the matter.
Like, you can't just unilaterally say that.
I don't care about the law. I'm talking about politics. You go back in there and rule that there's no Santa Claus, we won't be even able to put you in the primaries.
Charlie. I'm a responsible judge. How can I seriously rule that there is a Santa Claus?
All right, go back in there and rule there isn't. The kids read about it, so they don't hang up the stockings.
Kids don't read the paper, sir.
All the toys that are supposed to be in them stockings, nobody buys them. Oh, the toy manufacturers are gonna love that.
Do you know what the toy manufacturers do to squealers?
Oh, boy, are you gonna be a popular guy. And what about the Salvation Army? They got a Santa Claus on every corner. Henry, I'm telling you, if you go back in there and rule that there's no Santa Claus, you can count on getting just 2 votes. Your own and that district attorney's out there.
By the way, where the fuck is this accent coming from?
One. District Attorney's Republican.
That's actually a good joke.
This court has just consulted the highest authority available.
Money.
The traditions of American justice demand a broad and unprejudiced view of
Wow.
such a...
This guy went to the Kamala Harris School of Bullshit.
Therefore, this court is determined to keep an open mind and hear the evidence from either side.
But can my opponent produce any evidence in support of this contention?
Your Honor, I can. Will Thomas Mara take the stand?
Who, me?
Thomas Mara, Jr.
Thomas Mark.
Oh. Don't look at me. Oh, I am gonna whip the fucking shit out of you, you little bastard. You're not even mine.
Between telling the truth and telling a lie, don't you?
Everybody knows you shouldn't tell a lie, especially in court.
Do you believe in Santa Claus?
Sure I do.
And what does he look like?
There he is, sitting over there.
I object, Your Honor.
Overruled. Tommy, why are you so sure there's a Santa Claus?
Because Daddy told me.
Didn't you, Daddy?
You believe your daddy, don't you?
Sure I do. Daddy wouldn't tell me anything that wasn't so, would you, Daddy?
Thank you, Tommy.
You were adopted.
The state of New York is willing to concede the existence of a Santa Claus. But I ask that Mr. Gailey produce authoritative evidence that Mr. Kringle is the one and only Santa Claus.
Your point is well taken, Mr. Mara. Mr. Gailey, are you ready to show that Mr. Kringle is Santa Claus? On the basis of competent authority?
Not at this time, Your Honor. I ask for an adjournment until this time tomorrow.
This court stands adjourned till 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
3 o'clock?
That's already. What are you doing?
Writing to Mr. Kringle to tell him I believe in everything he told me. Everything will turn out fine.
Oh, that's nice. He'll like that.
What's this about me marrying the guy across the hall and getting a house?
Okay.
Screw up the ending here.
What did you write, Mother?
I believe in you too, Doris. Go take your bath now.
Yes, County Incinerator, are you open this late?
Hello, dead letter office. Are you kidding? We got maybe a couple 100,000. Yes, ma'am, we sure would. Hey, lady, that's not a bad idea. Thank
Wow. Who'd have thunk it? A lady with a good idea.
Chris, I've got bad news for you. I've tried every way to get some competent authority. I wired the mayor, the governor, everybody.
Susan, and means more to me than all the mayors and governors in the world.
It's all over. He hasn't got a thing.
I know that because I've got a mole in his legal team.
Your Honor, the defense has yet to produce one bit of authoritative proof that this man is really Santa Claus. And in view of the fact that it is Christmas Eve and we're all anxious to get to our homes, I ask that these commitment papers be signed without further delay.
Mr. Gailey, have you anything further to offer?
I should like to submit the following evidence, Your Honor. It concerns an official agency of the United States government. The Post Office Department, one of the world's largest business concerns, did a gross business last year of $1,112,877,174.
Your Honor, I'm sure they're all deeply gratified to know that the Post Office Department is doing nicely, but it hardly has any bearing
Boy,
on this case.
you can tell this is before the internet age.
Make it a criminal offense to willfully misdirect mail or intentionally deliver it to the wrong party.
Yeah, Your Honor. I'm sure that the state of New York is willing to admit that the Post Office Department is authoritative, prosperous, and efficient.
For the record.
For the record, anything to get on with this case.
Then, Your Honor, I offer these letters in evidence. They're simply addressed to Santa Claus, yet they were each delivered to Mr. Kringle by bona fide employees of the Post Office Department. I offer these
Bona fide?
authoritative proof.
How
Your
fancy.
Honor, 3 letters are hardly authoritative proof.
I have further exhibits, Your Honor, but I hesitate to produce them.
Oh, I'm sure we'd all be glad to see them.
Oh, yes, indeed. Put them on my desk.
On your desk?
Yes.
Very well, Your Honor.
Come on in, boys. Yeah, you're being held in contempt of court immediately. You're gonna spend Christmas in prison, gentlemen. Yeah, no, he's crazy. Like that.
Your Honor,
That
every one
he's
of
crazy.
these letters is addressed to Santa Claus, and the post office has delivered them to my client. Therefore, the United States government recognizes this man, Kris Kringle, as Santa Claus.
If the United States of America believes this man is Santa Claus, then this court will not dispute it. Case dismissed.
Now to go on my axe murder spree.
And a Merry Christmas to you, Mr. Kringle. Oh, I got your note. It made me very happy.
Oh, I'm glad. Chris, won't you come to dinner tonight?
I know. I'm working tonight. You see, it's Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas!
What's the matter with Susan?
I think she misses Chris.
Don't worry, young.
Come on, I'll feel you up and put you on my lap and squeeze you real tight. You'll be fine.
Darling, you got a lot of presents.
Not the one I wanted. Not the one Mr. Kringle was going to get for me.
What was that?
It doesn't matter. I didn't get it. I knew it wouldn't be here, but could I get a letter or something about it? Hello?
Hello, Susan.
You selfish little cunt.
Well, it wasn't really a promise. I said I'd do my best.
You couldn't get it because you're not Santa Claus, that's
I
all.
was in court, you
Just
lunatic.
a man with white whiskers like my mother says. And I shouldn't have believed you.
Susan. Merry Christmas, Chris.
I'm sorry Susan is disappointed in me.
Oh, she'll be all right. Here's Fred.
I've been disappointing her whole life.
Merry Christmas. Where are you?
Out at the home. Fred, we're giving a little party this afternoon. Will you bring Mrs. Walker and Susan out to help us celebrate?
Of course I will.
Now, you turn off the parkway at Seymour. Drive 3 blocks, then turn onto Ashley Drive. You'll see it on the right.
Got it.
You want to write that down? No? GPS doesn't exist.
Susan, I was wrong when I told you not to believe in Mr. Kringle. You must have faith in him.
But he didn't get me that. That doesn't make sense, Mother.
Faith is believing in things even when common sense tells you not to.
Like believing who your father really is.
Things don't work out the way you want them to the first time. You still gotta believe in people.
I'll try.
There it is, Ashley Drive.
I do believe.
I didn't believe in spooks. I do believe in spooks. I do believe in spooks.
Stop, Uncle Fred, stop!
Susan! Susan!
That's someone else's house, you lunatic.
Susan? You shouldn't be running around in other people's houses.
But this is my house, Mommy. The one I asked Mr. Kringle
Now,
for.
Susan, darling.
It is. I know it is. Oh, you're right, Mommy. If things don't turn out right the first time, you still got to believe. Mr. Kringle is Santa Claus. He is. I'm going to see my swings.
You told her that?
No, fuck no. No way. You go in there,
Seems to me
motherfucker.
to say it. We can't let her down.
So you're gonna buy a house?
Darling, I always believed in you. It's just my ridiculous common sense.
It even makes sense to believe in me now.
Does it make sense to believe you can't afford a fucking house?
Man, legally prove that he's Santa Claus. Now you know. Oh no.
This cane still has blood on it from when he beat that man with it.
Wait, it must have been left by one of the tenants.
Maybe. Maybe I didn't do such a remarkable thing after all.
Are you kidding? You almost got her to touch your dick. Oh, hello! Oh, God, yeah, you missed a lot, dude. We've been on for an hour and a half. Were you at work? Ah, damn, sorry. I had to start early, though. We still have another hour and a half movie.